Hello everybody, welcome back. I hope you're doing great. We have a new friend, the mic, I guess you could call it. I tested it. I had this mic before years ago. I decided to get it again because I do really like it. I tested it, sounded great in the settings that I have it right now, but because it is night, there's more sounds than usual, like dogs barking, airplanes, neighbors, things like that weren't around where I was setting this up and making a trial and see how it works. We'll see if I end up using this audio. Hopefully, because it's gonna look very silly me using the audio that I usually do with the camera, which I have it on just in case, and having this. Also, you guys will see it. I have very little space where I record, so there is no way for me to like hide it so you guys don't see it. So you guys will see at least the top half of it, which is fine. You know, if I get frustrated, I can just pick it up very close to my face, talk to it, and then set it down. So there's an airplane passing. These are things that I didn't have when I was, seeing how it works. We're testing it out because none of this was happening when I tested it. So this is a good test. Me recording a video and testing this. Good. If it doesn't work, you guys are gonna hear the same sound. And again, it's gonna look silly, me having this, you guys seeing it, and me not using it. And that just means I need to test it out one night that I don't have to record anything, just to see what happens. Because honestly, I set up things, I'm like ready, airplanes, dogs, neighbors, everybody. As the video for you guys today, and also the test video for this mic, is gonna be a review video. Oh my god. It's been a while since I have done like a movie or series review type video on my channel, so we're bringing a lot of things back this year, I feel like. And it's been a while since I have done one, I think. So I wanted to do one. And this one, honestly, it might not be the best one for me to try this mic because I feel like I'm gonna pick it up because I'm gonna be very frustrated. This is a series that I saw once and I was so frustrated by it that I decided to make the video, and I was making the notes and I didn't want to watch it again. I might be missing things, I might be missing names, I might have been missing plots, but I don't care because I don't really want to watch it again. I don't want to. So I'm gonna work with what I remember when I watched it because I really want to make this video. Because this series started so great, so strong. Then it went downhill halfway and I was so frustrated by the end that I was like, is this even worth it? It's gonna be worth it because of this meal that I'm gonna make, but still. I am talking about this series, I Will Find You. It is on Netflix. It came out on June of this year. It is described as a crime drama series. I would add thriller and suspense on it, but also didn't do a great job with it, so I'm just gonna keep it a crime drama. And it is 8 episodes, which honestly could have been 6, even 5, but we talk about it at the end. When I was making these notes, I realized I have like a page and a half of character list because I do make a character list just in case I forget one. I can go back and I look it up and then go back to where I was in the notes. And then halfway through I was like, this is useless because there's too many of them and characters. So I'm just gonna put you guys, and the ones that I don't remember, sorry. Too many of you. There's too many characters on this, and that is one of my frustrations. Usually when I do these videos that are like episodes, I put things from other episodes in other ones, to kind of be like, this is this person, which later you figure out is this person. I'm not gonna do that with this. I'm gonna tell you what exactly happens in each episode, and maybe that way you guys can see why I get so frustrated with this series. Hopefully. If not, I think me talking about it at the end will help you also. But instead, I'm gonna talk to you what happens in each episode exactly, instead of bringing things from another episode. Unless I get very frustrated and I decide to add it so I can finish quicker, okay? And also, the notes for each episode got smaller and smaller the more I made, because I was like, this is useless. I can just skip this because honestly, it's a plot that is useless. Okay, this part is gonna be long, but also I feel like not really, because I feel like I can even cut some things that I still have written down. So let's go with this. Let's start episode 1. We meet the main character, I guess you can call him. He is David Burrows. I don't remember how to say it. We're just gonna call him David. He is serving his 5th year of a life sentence in prison, and it is for killing his son Matthew. The thing is, he's innocent. They tell you this already in first episode, which I didn't like. I wanted it to be a little bit of a surprise, because then you have a little bit of wiggle room if you want to do something different at the end, I feel like. But okay. And because of this, he really doesn't let anybody visit him in the prison, all of that, until one day Rachel visits him. She is his ex-sister-in-law. He was married to Cheryl. You get to know her a little bit after, and they're separated. I'm guessing because of the whole thing. Cheryl is now married to another guy, is pregnant. But Rachel decides to visit him and show him a picture. And he's like, "You are showing me a picture of a happy family in a park. What the hell?" She's like, "Look closely." And upon him looking closely to the picture, he realized there's a boy in the background. And he has a birthmark on his cheek that is very, very similar, if not identical, to the one that Matthew had. And she's like, "I think Matthew is alive." And he's like, "Okay, has you told Cheryl about this?" And she's like, "No, she's married, she's gonna have a child now, it's a girl." And he's like, "I want you to tell her, because if this is true, she needs to know." The visit is over because of a prison guard named Ted. He is useful in the story, but at the same time, I'm very confused by him. He is really important, but at the same time, he dies very quickly. He's being bribed by people to keep an eye on David, essentially in prison. And we know this because once the visit is over and all of that, he tests somebody that David received a visit today. We also meet Philip. He is the warden in the prison. He knows David. He knows Lenny. Lenny is David's father, and he has a son called Adam, which is David's friend. Lenny and Philip worked together. They were partners when they were cops, things like that. And David is telling Philip, I'm already getting confused by names, about the racial visit, the photo, and all of that, and he asked him for the case file. He wants it. Philip does tell Lenny about this, but also Philip doesn't really know if he should believe Rachel, because Rachel used to be like a reporter journalist, and she was fired from her job. And he thinks she's trying to find a story to be able to do her comeback. David gets the case file, he looks it up, he starts circling names. He realizes that there is an expert that testified on his case that says that David suffers from night terrors. And he says that if he had an episode of night terrors, he could have killed Matthew in one of those episodes and then wake up and not realize that he has done that. And also there is this woman called Hild, I'm pretty sure I'm butchering her name, and she testified that she saw David bury the bat that he used to kill Matthew in a garden or something like that, and he knows that is a lie. Rachel visits David again. He wants to break out of prison, I guess, at this time. The plan to take him out, actually. Let's just go there. I'm just gonna skip whatever I had here. So Ted decides to attack David in prison, to kill him. The people that are bribing him told him to kill him. It doesn't work. There's a guard that appears and stops them, and Ted lies that David attacked him, trying to kill him. Philip arrives and he's like, "Okay, I will take care of it. We're gonna move him to another prison. Either way, you can take the day off." There we go. Adam appears and Philip tells, "We're gonna help you break out of prison," to David. The plan is that David was going to put Adam's uniform. He's a cop as well. And David was just going to act like Adam, and Adam was going to be in a closet just in case they found him. He can say that David attacked him and took his uniform and took Philip as hostage. They do this. The thing is, Ted, that is about to leave the prison, talks to this other guard, and the guard is like, "Nobody was transferred to that prison. Like, David wasn't there. Philip never got there." So this makes Ted think. So when they are in the elevator or waiting for the elevator, Ted appears. He realizes it is David, so David acts as taking Philip hostage. they're able to get a prison in Philip's truck and all of that, and David is kind of freaking out. Interesting, you wanted to break out of prison. I mean, this wasn't the plan, so it's understandable. So they're on the highway, they get stuck because there's police. A negotiator calls, and Philip is like, okay, if you really want to get out of all of this, you really need to sell the story that you have me hostage, my guy. Otherwise, they'll pick it up and you're fucked. So, I'm not joking, that's what he said. Also, at the end of this episode, Rachel is able to figure out, together with this other guy that she worked with when she was a journalist, that Hild actually changed her name and disappeared, and now she lives in New York. So that's kind of the end of episode 1. Episode 2, David is able to escape, okay? He gets into this mall, in the truck and all of that, and Rachel is there to help him transfer to her car. They go, and then Philip keeps driving with the truck. They catch up on him. David is not there. They ask him, and he's like, I just kept driving because David told me that if I didn't, he was going to kill everybody in the mall. That's done. They don't know where David is. This is where the FBI starts getting involved. We get to meet Max and Sarah. They're partners in the FBI, and they're working all of that. They do talk to Adam and Philip, and they don't really believe their story. Here's the thing. Usually FBI in series like this are stupid, I feel like. These two, they have their moments, but they're actually very smart. More Sarah. Sarah is a person that she takes everything into consideration. She looks at everything, and she looks at everything very closely with evidence and everything, and she really follows her gut and what she thinks and what is in front of her instead of what other people are telling her. And I really like about that. Honestly, I really like it a lot. They're not stupid. Sometimes they are in the series. These two are not, because as soon as Phil and Adam are telling their story, Max is like, are you sure that happened? Because we didn't see any of that. What? And I kind of like it. I like it that they're making them kind of think if their story is strong enough and all of that. I like it. Very interesting. Again, you don't see FBI doing this type of a thing. They're usually stupid. But these two actually, I think they have their moments, but overall, I think they do a good job as an FBI. The FBI realizes about Rachel and how she might have helped David break out of prison and all of that, so they put a bolo on her just in case. They also checked the footage of Rachel visiting David, but that was erased, and they figure out later on that it was Ted that erased it. Oh my god, what is happening outside today? My god. Ted actually sends his family away. Again, he was being bribed, I'm guessing with his family, but I'm not entirely sure. He's like, don't worry, I'll catch to you guys later. David decides to visit him because he thinks he has to do something with everything. Ted is there with a gun, and instead of attacking David or something like that, he is like, they make me do it, I'm sorry, they bribe me, things like that. And Ted kills himself right there in front of David, and David has to run, of course. So David and Rachel got to the conclusion that whoever is behind everything is trying to get the loose ends out and kill them, right? So they decide to go to New York, where Hild is supposed to be, because they think she's the next in line since she lied when she was testifying. When they get to New York, they need a place to sleep, so Rachel calls Hayden. Hayden is her ex-boyfriend, and he's rich. This guy is rich. He's very handsome. He's cute. But he's rich. He has this place and he lets her stay there. He has cameras on this place, which honestly, when I saw him, I was like, I know the whole point is that you don't trust anybody, but he gave me the ick. But then he's handsome at the same time, so I'm like, oh my god. But he has cameras. That's how he sees Rachel with David. The FBI, Sarah and Max, they realize that there is this account called REH Holding that have been paying Ted $1,000 for 5 years each month. 5 years each month. They're guessing to keep an eye on David. $1,000 feel too little for what that guy was doing and did. So I think a little bit more would have been better. Oh my god. So they think that Ted tried to kill David instead. So David killed him. on his house. That's like the story that the FBI people kind of have on mind. And then also at the end of episode 2, we see Adam digging up Matthew's body in the cemetery. I'm not gonna lie, he's also very handsome, but I saw that and I was like, do not even go there. He is part of something else that is also very annoying to me. So episode 3, we're flying through this, I swear. This is where the episode starts with a flashback, as I say. Some of them are useless, some of them are kind of okay and kind of tied up some things. In episode 3, the only thing that you need to know is that they're on a 4th of July party and there's a guy called Skunk. That's all you need to know. You need to just keep his name in the back of your head. We do realize that the reason why Philip and Lenny are acting a little bit weird about this whole thing is because when Matthew died that night, they were the first ones there and they actually were the ones that buried the bat on the garden wherever they did it, but they were the ones that did it, not David, like Hild said. And that's why they're very like acting suspicious the whole time, because they did it to try and help David in his case to not be convicted and more and all of that, while Rachel and David are in New York trying to find where Hild lives. This is where Rachel thought it was a great chance to tell Cheryl about Matthew being alive via call. Not the greatest time. Of course, Cheryl is like annoyed by this and sad and hangs up. And she's doing this gala donation thing that she's doing. And we meet Gertrude, I think how you say her name. She owns something. Pain Foundation is what she owns, which is there in the donation gala that Sherry is doing. You also need to keep her in the back of your mind. You get to meet like 5 different characters in this episode. Oh my god. David and Rachel now know where Hild lives, but FBI is there. They got there first. So Rachel decides to use herself as bait so the FBI can catch her, which they do. They charge her with like accessory to theft, murder, and things like that. And David is able to get into Hild's apartment and all of that. He knocks out the police and all of that. And she tells him that the reason why she lied when she was testifying is because her daughter is on debt, gambling debt or something like that. And these people came to her saying that if she lied, they will pay all of that debt. And the name that she mentions Skunk, and she also mentions Nick Fisher, which is the person that Skunk works for. You also need to keep the name Nick Fisher in the back of your mind. I know it's a lot. That's the way that I was seeing it, and I had to keep those names behind my head. So I'm honestly just giving you guys the experience that I went through while watching this. The police realizes what Rachel is doing, so they start running to Hild and all that. Hild does help David get out of the apartment, all that. There's a little bit of a run sequence between David and Sarah. She doesn't catch him. They go back, they talk to Hild, and they're like, you actually helped him, but okay, we're gonna let it pass. Lenny and Philip does confront Adam about him trying to dig Matthew's body in the cemetery, and he's like, I did it because I wanted to confirm via DNA that it was actually Matthew, but when he went to open everything and get the body, there was no body in the coffin. And also, he's now suspended from work, but he was able to get the box and the case file of everything of David and Matthew's murder and all of that, so they could go through it. And the way that this episode ends is seeing this kid that is the same one in the photo, but he's called Theo. And there's this woman calling him that dinner is ready and all of that. Episode 4, the flashback on this is stupid, so I will skip it. Lenny, Philip, and Adam, they go through the files, right? And they found this bus accident that happened the night of Matthew's murder. And they see the name Ronald Drayson. He is the hospital administrator where Cheryl works, and they actually find that she got called that night to go to work because of this bus accident that was coming to the hospital. The thing is, this Ronald Drayson, however it's called, he's Ron. He is actually Cheryl's new husband. The plot thickens, but also not. Yeah, Cheryl, when Lenny goes to talk to Ron, he's not there, but he ends up talking to Cheryl. And she basically tells her that, yes, she was called that night, but also she was told by Ron that the bus accident people that were on the accident were like routed to another hospital essentially, and she really didn't need to be there. To which Lenny says that is not true because there was no bus accident that night. Hayden, again, I told you he is rich, so he helps Rachel get out of prison. With this family lawyer, never got her name, but smart woman. I say family lawyer because he also helps Hayden later on. But she's a smart woman because, oh my god, the things that she does to get these people out of prison, great job. So Hayden decides to help Rachel and David as long as she is not in danger or anything like that. So great. So Hild helps David lure Skunk to a park, to which he gets there. David is there with a gun. I think it was Hayden's gun, if I remember. The point of this whole thing is that Skunk kills Hild right there. There is a little bit of a tussle. There's a shot fire. They start running. Later on, we see them in a building. Skunk is shot, so the gunshot was to him. They're talking. David and him are talking. And Skunk is like, you need to look into your family, my guy. Especially your dad, because him and Nick Fisher, they might have a story together. And David is like, oh god, okay, so this is another plot. Okay, David is able to escape the building. The FBI gets there. They do catch Skunk, but David is able to escape, so he good. The FBI rules Ted as a suicide. What happened to him? Skunk says that Hild called him because she was scared that David was going to do something to her, because he thinks that his son is alive, and he's looking at like everybody that had to do with the case and all of that. You also get to know that Gertrude, the woman from the foundation that Cheryl got to know, is Hayden's mom. I was surprised also. And also, what else happened? Oh yeah, Sarah looks at the picture that Rachel had and realizes the little kid at the back might be Matthew. And we see Lenny take out a case file with the name Liam Fisher. Yeah, and then there's a gun to his head. And that's how episode 4 ends. Episode 5. I'm going through this quick because, oh my god, I don't want to get frustrated. As soon as I get this mic on my hand, it means I'm frustrated, and I don't want to get there. Episode 5. The flashback here is a little bit useful. I will tell you about it. It just tells you about 5 years ago in Geneva. There is a detective Muller that saves a kid named Martin, and he takes him to an orphan. I'm butchering that, I'm sorry. And then later on, the kid goes missing. I'm telling you this flashback because it is actually important later on. The FBI, Sarah, mainly Sarah, she's the smart one. Max, he looks at everything and judges everything. Sarah looks at the evidence, essentially. She gets information about the missing kid in Genova. Here's the thing. I don't remember how she got to this conclusion. I really don't remember at all. I don't know how she got into like meshing both of things. I really don't remember, and I don't think they explain it either, so I'm sorry. Also, this is when I say FBI sometimes are stupid, because they let Skunk out of the hospital and whatever, thinking that he might be able to guide them to where David is. I think it was stupid, but okay, especially when they later on know that he's the one that killed Hild, they still let him go. There's always something stupid that the FBI does. I guess this is the one for them. Also, the FBI visits Sophie. Sophie is Lenny's sister. They live together, and they do end up arresting her for obstructing the investigation because she does lie to them about where Lenny could be. She doesn't really tell them. So that happens. David and Rachel were actually in the house, so I'm guessing that's why she did it. So they're able to escape. Nothing really happens from the conversation, so it's fine. So David, because he now has the name Nick Fisher on his mind, he wants to find him. Adam tells him, hey, he retired like 5 years ago. I don't think you're gonna be able to find him. So his next option is to find the daughter of Nick Fisher, which he does. He tries to use her as a hostage. Doesn't work. She uses a taser because there's people there, and she taser him, and then when he wakes up, he's like tied up to a chair, and they're gonna kill him. And Adam appears. And he's like, no, you cannot kill him. Nick Fisher wants to see him, so he has to come with us. So Adam works for Nick Fisher. Here's the thing. I really want to grab this mic, but I'm not gonna do it because I'm not gonna get frustrated. I don't know why he's working for Nick Fisher. I try to figure it out. I cannot figure out why. I don't know what the connection is between him and Nick Fisher. I don't know if it has to do with what later on they say that happened with Lenny and Philip. I really don't know. And I don't think they explain it either. And if they didn't catch it. Because there's so many things happening on this. It's impossible to catch it. The reason why Ron, I'm telling you this because I think this is very stupid. The reason why Ron lied to Cheryl about the bus accident and all of that is because he had a crush on Cheryl. And he wanted to take the chance to have a cup of coffee with her. So that plot that they gave you that he might have something involved with it, useless. Throw it out the window. He just wanted coffee with her. So, I'm getting frustrated by this. Next thing. Connections here are being made a little bit at the end of this episode. FBI connects that Philip and Lenny, when they worked as cops together as partners, they arrested Liam Fisher for murder. And he got killed in prison. And they think that Nick probably has to do something with everything that is happening as some kind of revenge. They're all able to leave the plane. David, Adam, all the people, they kind of get in the plane to get Nick Fisher. There's a little bit of shooting happening between the FBI and them on the airport. Max does get shot. And Sarah does run to him. So that's how they were able to leave to Florida. Yeah, they left to Florida. I'm guessing that's where Nick Fisher is. Episode 6. Flashback on this is useless, so I'm just gonna skip it. The whole story between Nick and Lenny and Philip, okay? Because they're there talking. There's David, there's Lenny, there's Nick, there's Adam there, all of that. Nick has a gun to Lenny's head, and Adam has a gun to Nick because he doesn't really want anybody to be killed. But the story between the three of them, Nick, Lenny, and Philip. Nick was able to get the DA to drop the charges of his son Liam Fisher, and Lenny and Philip planted fake evidence and fake testimonies and all of that to get Liam for murder on prison, and he died there. Nick wanted revenge, and in this moment he's trying to get David to decide between Lenny, which is his father, and his son Matthew, to which Lenny is able to convince David to get to pick Matthew. And Nick doesn't really do anything. He doesn't kill anybody. He's like, I'm not gonna do this. But you pick your son, but I'm not gonna kill anybody. Everybody realizes I'm good. Nick says that he did bribe Hilt to lying on the stand, but he did it to get back at Lenny for what he did to his son. That's basically it. He doesn't really do anything to kids or anything like that. So we have been having this mic here is dangerous. We have been up to now thinking Nick Fisher has to do something with it. We have been planting that name in our head because everybody keeps mentioning, and you're telling us now in episode 6 that he has nothing to do with it, that all of this was useless. I understand this is suspense and it's supposed to keep you on your toes, but at some point it gets annoying. But Nick does tell David something. He's not the only family Matthew has. It's another side of the story, meaning Cheryl. And then the best conclusion David could get to this is Matthew's not his son. Another plot. Just another one. We have so many on this. Oh my god. I don't know how David got into this conclusion that Matthew might not be his son, but another one. We continue. I'm gonna skip some things here because it's useless. Yeah, there's a police. It's a corrupt police that works for Gertrude. Never mention him. Don't know his name either. But he does try to kill Rachel at some point. Hayden does try to save her. She's totally fine. She's good. She doesn't die. And they pick up David after all of that. And he's revealing that he thinks Matthew is not his son. All of that thing. So they decide to go to the fertility clinic because Cheryl and David were having troubles having kids, okay? And he thinks that she went to a fertility clinic without him to get pregnant. So Rachel, David, and Hayden. I say it out loud and it sounds, it's just okay. The three of them go to Payne's fertility clinic. Yes, it's the same one. Gertrude, she owns it. And they go into the database. There's nothing with Cheryl's name, maiden name, I think it's called. Nothing. No, nothing. Hayden does tell the story of this doctor that was using his own cat, let's call it like that, to impregnate women, like random women. So they're like, fuck, might be him. Oh my god. So this doctor is called Dr. Heller. We get to know him for the first time in this episode. Up to this episode, we're still getting to know new people. So they're like, that's probably it. Probably has something to do with it. The FBI gets to the fertility clinic. Hayden uses himself as bait to get him, and Rachel and David can escape. Okay, episode 7. I'm getting there. We're getting into the end. I can do this without getting frustrated, without picking this mic up and screaming at it. I can do it. Episode 7. The flashback is stupid, so I will skip it. Dr. Heller, we see him deleting emails, deleting things. He's freaking out. He's technically in danger. He's trying to run away, essentially. Hayden does get out of the whole police thing. Again, family lawyer. Wish I had one. Oh my god. But now he's in trouble with his mom, because she's like, you're doing all of this for Rachel. Like, you need to stop. You cannot see her anymore. You cannot help her. He does leave a voicemail to Rachel being like, I'm sorry, I cannot help you anymore. I love you still. I did hear that part and I was like, I don't trust you. You handsome, my guy, but also I don't trust you. Okay, so Detective Mueller. We go back to Detective Mueller, the one from like 5 years ago. He's now in the USA because Sarah, I think she contacted him. I think it was. Again, I don't know how she made connection. But he's there. He's talking to Sarah and he's like, yeah, Martin like disappeared, all of that, but he has this rare genetic disorder. I did not catch the name, so I did not write it down. I'm sorry. He says that if they have the body or something, they can do a DNA test and see if it's actually Matthew or Martin. And also, he figures out some accounts that were emptied out at some point that are REH Holding, the one from the first episode, and he's like, I know they are from Gertrude, so I'm gonna go to her and rattle her cage to see what happens. And I'm here like, you could have done that on my phone, my guy. You didn't need to go there. But okay. Rachel, Cheryl, and David are in the hospital room. Why? Because Ron was trying to help Rachel and David talk to Dr. Heller. Cheryl finds him. She's like, take me to them. So they're in this room, they're talking. David is like, Matthew might not be my son, like what should you do? And they're talking about the fertility clinic, and Sherry is like, I used Rachel's name, that's why you guys didn't find anything, but also I didn't go through anything because when I was doing that, I realized that I was actually pregnant, so Matthew is your son. So the whole plot is again thrown out the window. Useless. But because of this, Rachel gets these pictures. Now, she was trying to find pictures of the whole event from the original picture that she found in the first episode where Matthew can see at the background, right? And there were some pictures missing. She contacted a photographer, and while they're in this room, she gets them. And she realizes, oh fuck, it's Hayden. Because the person holding the kid's hand is Hayden. Also, we know it's Hayden because when Mueller, the detective, went to Gertrude, I really don't know how to say her name, a house to rattle her cage, and he was leaving, Hayden kills him with a rock. Just plain sight, daylight, everything, just rock, tung tung tung, dead. Episode 8. By this point, you know it's Matt, is Hayden. There's a flashback here. It's kind of important because this is a flashback when they show you Hayden getting to the house with Matthew in his hands saying, this is my son, to his mom. Hayden has Theo, Matthew. We know it's Matthew, so I'm just gonna keep calling him Matthew. He's in the house with him and he's like, we gotta move again, it's totally fine, don't worry, everything will be fine. Great. He's a psychopath. This is stupid. Sarah gets actually there in the hospital room where everybody is, and she believes him. Again, she's smart. She looks at the evidence. She's like, you didn't kill your son. He's alive, isn't it? It might help you. Don't worry about that. From Hayden's voicemail that Rachel hears, she's like, he's gonna leave. I need to help you guys. So I'm gonna go to his house. I'm gonna call him and everything and say that David is crazy and he was captured and I need to escape. If he can take me with you, with if he can take her with him. There we go. They do get to the house. Rachel distracts him. David and Sarah are the ones that get to the house. They do find Matthew. He talks to him. Matthew decides to go with him. I don't know if it is connection of father and son, and that's why Matthew decided to go with him, but he's now with David. Great. There is a little bit of a talk between Rachel, Hayden, and Gertrude, because Gertrude really didn't like Rachel from the beginning, and Rachel is like, hey, Matthew is not really a pain like you guys, like he's not really your son. And Hayden really doesn't believe it, and this is how we know that his mom, Gertrude, faked everything. And I'm gonna probably read this a lot because it's very confusing. Hayden is very much obsessed with Rachel. Again, psychopath, I feel like. Even the way that he acted, I'm like, you're a psychopath, my god. But he's very obsessed with her and having a kid with her. And when he realized that Rachel, because it wasn't really Rachel, it was Cheryl using her name, was trying to form a family without him, he used Dr. Heller to impregnate Rachel, supposed to be Rachel, with his kids. So the kid will be hers and him, essentially. Rachel and Hayden, both of them. And when he went to the 4th of July party, which we saw a flashback later on, he saw Matthew and he was like, this is my son. So he used Martin's body to play as Matthew's body. He actually kills Martin, use his body, make it seem like David did it so he could take Matthew, thinking that it is his son, when in reality it isn't. When Gertrude saw this and all of that, she faked everything so he would think it was his son, when in reality it wasn't. And she basically did it so the family legacy and all of that could keep going in the actual name, but it's not really his son, so he's actually following nobody's name. Either way, she dies. Hayden kills her right there, so she gone. I said that so empty, but she gone either way. After some fighting in the forest between Hayden and David, Matthew is there. Shit happens, accident happens, whatever. They're fighting. Hayden is like, okay, I'm gonna take care of all of this. So he makes him like he's going to kill Sarah. So Sarah has to shoot him. He dead. Gone. Okay. 8 months later, we get that Lenny dies. He had cancer and he died. He has a couple of months at least with Matthew. Rachel did wrote a book about everything, so she ended up getting her story. Sharon and Ron are still together. They had a very pretty baby, and Max retired. Sarah became the head of the Boston FBI thing. At the funeral, Matthew and David are talking for a little bit before they go back into the funeral, and he sees the kid and done. That's essentially how it ends. That's everything. Oh my god, good thing I'm done with it. Okay. I am so frustrated by this. Love series like this. Okay, I love suspense thriller things. There's a series on Netflix that is called, I wrote it down so I didn't forget, His and Hers. It is really good. I'm not going to give you too much into it because I feel it's one of those series that the less you know the better. But the basic plot, it's like there's these murders that are happening in this small town, and there's this woman that wants to go there to report it as a breaking news because she's having trouble with her career. And a bunch of things happen, more people die, she gets connected into the whole story because it is people that she knew, and police is kind of investigating her, and people are still dropping like flies, dying. And then once you get the twist and everything at the end, you're like, oh my god, what? That series is so good. I suggest you watch it if you haven't. And when I saw the plot of this one, I was like, oh, it is kind of the same. Not exactly the same story, but it's sort of like that. Ooh, no. It's frustrating because there's so many things happening, but at the same time, not much is happening. Okay, so there's too many characters on this. Too many. And if by episode 7 you're still telling me new characters that you later on are either going to kill or not going to appear anymore, they're useless to me. I don't care what you say, they're useless to me. Why so many? His and Hers didn't have that many. It has the main ones, and they worked around it. They were able to build those characters, give them a story, give them a reason that they might have done the murders that are happening around in this town. And that was great. This one, there's so many that I'm like, okay, are you actually part of the story, or are you just here to annoy me for the rest of the episode or the rest of the series? Too much. I would have cut it to half and done. Also, too many random plots that then get resolved in the next episode or at the end of the episode, and it is very annoying. I was going to write this down, but I decided not to. And I have my handy dandy notebook here, so let's go into it together. 1. The person bribing Ted, I'm guessing it was Gertrude. Why was he being bribed? Why him? And with what? My guessing is debt. Maybe he has some gambling problems, because I think at some point I mentioned that. So my guessing is that. Why him? Out of every guard in that prison, why him? They might have said it, but there's so much happening that you get lost. Second one, Rachel. So they make a huge deal of her being fired from being a reporter, and her using this whole thing of Matthew being alive as a story, which either way at the end she gets her story, a book, so it's useless. But they make a whole deal of her being fired, of her story of her forcing somebody to confess to some sexual, what was it? Something. It has to do with something sexual. I think somebody was raped, I think it was. And they made a huge deal of that because that person committed suicide after they went on record about what happened. And that's how she lost her job. They made such a huge deal about it. And I'm here like, I don't care. I'm sorry. I should care. I know I should care properly, but I don't. It's a plot that I don't care about. Just tell me she was fired and done. I don't care. That wasn't what she wanted. She's now loving being a teacher. Done. Also, the corrupt police. I never got his name. I know he works for Gertrude, but that's all. He appears like looking at them until he tries to kill Rachel. That's like the only thing that he does. Stupid. I don't think it is necessary. Also, Julie, she's like the head of the FBI. She also works for Gertrude. Again, this woman has money. She doesn't need anybody in the police to work for her. Like, you can just pay anybody there. Usually your lawyer, and that would be cheaper probably. But I'm guessing she knows somebody from the inside, so great. But he's useless in this thing, that's why I barely mention him. Yeah, another plot that they used is Sarah and Max. They're actually father and daughter. I think they got separated or something, and their relationship is a little bit broken. And when Max got shot and he's at the hospital, they took like 10 minutes of that episode to talk about his problems and fixing that family circle of them. I'm sorry, I don't care. I'm sorry, I probably should, but you're giving me a plot and I'm here like, I don't care. Where's Matthew? Okay, next thing. Why Lenny had cancer? Maybe it was to give him the plot of needing to help David and all of that before he died, is what I'm guessing. But also I was sad by it. I wish he didn't have cancer or needed to like die at the end. I kind of wanted him to have his time with Matthew, honestly, so I was kind of sad about that one. What else? Oh, another plot that they add that I thought was useless is with Ron. So the whole thing with the bus accident, that's another thing. But they had this person talk to Lenny and Philip, I think it was, about this scam that Ron was part of. It had to do with like Medicare and all of that. They made a huge deal about it, by the way, and they made it look like this was what Gertrude maybe or somebody was using to control him, and he doing things in the hospital. Like the bus accident is stupid. Okay, like it's a whole thing that again they try to make it big. Oh, Adam again working for Nick Fisher. Why? I don't know. I don't understand. Never got it. The Dr. Heller thing is also stupid. Again, he was introduced in like what, episode 6, 7, and done. He actually left or something. I don't think he died. Okay. And also Mueller, the detective Mueller. I did like him. Again, he was a very smart guy, so it's totally fine. Did nobody care that he died? I'm sorry, but he died at the end of episode 7, and nobody tried to look for his body, where he was. Nothing at all. He died and gone. Sarah didn't even try to look to where he is. Nothing. Again, I feel like what he wanted to do could have been a phone call if he could be alive. But again, we needed that surprise thing of Hayden being a psychopath and killing somebody with his own hands in a rock. So I understand. But it could have been a call, okay? It could have been a call. But nobody cared about him dead or anything. Nobody looked for his body. Nothing at all. And I was still like, my guy, I feel so bad. You came from like the other side of the world for nothing, for just to die. But I'm guessing he was needed to continue the story. That and so many random plots that I probably forgot about are useless and really frustrated me. Another thing, it's too long. This thing could have been 6 episodes, not 8. I will say episode 5 and 6 are the ones that I kind of find useless, that they could have picked 3 or 4 things, add them to other episodes, and it could have been 6 episodes. The ending is fine. Sometimes it gets confusing to other series. The ending is fine. Honestly, at some point, I was kind of hoping, this is gonna sound very bad, that Matthew was actually dead. Like, the whole twist would have been like David used this excuse to actually tie loose ends and kill people, and then at the end it was going to be revealed that Matt is actually dead and David just escaped prison, and now there's no proof at all that he actually did it, and he was able to convince everybody that he actually didn't do it. I thought that would have been a great like twist at the end. Of course it wasn't going to happen, because again, from the beginning they tell you he's innocent. So I was like, ooh, is this one of the things where he actually did it, but now he's trying to convince people that didn't? No, it was useless. Again, Nick Fisher thing, they have you that for like more than half of it to then be scrapped off. It's very frustrating. I love that you don't trust anybody, and that's great by me. I love those type of things. But at some point, you gotta keep developing those characters so you find weird things about it, you know, so you can kind of be like, ooh, I actually don't trust him, he actually did that, oh my god. It's very frustrating to me. I think it had potential, but it was halfway. Again, episode 5 and 6 are useless for me, so around that time I was like, this is very hard to watch and I'm having trouble trying not to stop watching this. If anybody has seen this, let me know what you thought. Maybe there's some things that I missed that makes it a lot better. So you're more than welcome to tell me if you have seen it. If not, are you gonna watch it? I would suggest you watch His and Hers. It is a little bit strong, but honestly, if you like this kind of a thing, that one is better. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you're doing great, and I'm gonna see you on next one. This is what I have been wanting to do while I was watching this and like making this video even, but I'm not gonna put you guys through it. I'll be fine. I'm not gonna pick up this mic. It doesn't matter how frustrated I am, but this is what I wanted to do while I was telling you guys about this series, but I didn't, so that feels like an accomplishment.